कम्युनिटी में किसी तरह के तारुफ से मुहताज नहीं हैं। आप कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं इंटरमीडिएटरी फार्माको विजिलेंस सेंटर, नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ह्यूमैनी मेडिसिन, और आप वहीं पर प्रोफेसर भी हैं अमराज जल्द व तस्मीनियात में, और हेड भी हैं आप उसके। आपका 28 साल टीचिंग एक्सपीरियंस है, 30 साल क्लिनिकल एक्सपीरियंस है और 16 साल रिसर्च एक्सपीरियंस है। आपके अंडर में बहुत सारी पीजी की थेसिस अब तक तकरीबन 27 थेसिस हो चुकी है। 2 पीएचडी आपके अंडर में कंप्लीट हो गई है और 3 अभी चल रही है। आपका जो खास एरिया है रिसर्च का वो मस्कुलोस्केलेटल डिजीज, इलाज तदबीर, साइकियाट्री, लाइफ स्टाइल डिजीज, डर्मेटोलॉजी, ये सारे आपके खास एरिया हैं जिसमें आपने रिसर्च वर्क किया है या रिसर्च वर्क करवाया है। इसके अलावा आपके 100 से ज़्यादा साइंटिफिक पेपर्स पब्लिश हो चुके हैं डिफरेंट पीयर रिव्यू और इंडेक्स जर्नल्स में। आपने बहुत सारी कॉन्फ्रेंसेज, वर्कशॉप और वेबिनार में नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल एज एक्सपर्ट हिस्सा लिया है इनवाइटेड स्पीकर की हैसियत से, और भी बहुत सारे सेमिनार, वर्कशॉप। इसके अलावा आपके बहुत सारे काम हैं, लेकिन वक्त क्योंकि हमारे पास कम है, इसलिए हम बजाय इसके कि आपके बारे में कुछ कहें और सुने, हम आपको कहना और आपको सुनना चाहेंगे। तो आइए मैं गुजारिश करता हूँ बड़े एहतराम के साथ प्रोफेसर मोहम्मद अलीमुद्दीन खुंडी साहब से कि तशरीफ लाएं और एंटी
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर हसन साहब।
फार्माकोविजिलेंस जो आपका टॉपिक।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर हसन साहब। उम्मीद है हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन दिखाई दे रहा होगा।
जी जी बिल्कुल।
Right, sir. Okay. Before I start this webinar talk, half an hour, I extend my greetings to the organizer, Dr. Mahmooda Begum, the principal and the coordinator for the Peripheral Pharmacovigilance Center, HSZH Darun Engineering Medical College, Bhopal, for organizing this wonderful event, webinar. And I was learning so many things from Dr. Khalid and Dr. Zahir. It was a deliberation related to the focusing points of the pharmacovigilance program. I extend my greetings and thanks to Dr. P.C. Sharmaji, the Deputy Director and the Drug Controller Directorate of Ayush, Government of Madhya Pradesh, particularly because for the last 3 years, there are so many misleading advertisements reported to the respective state drug and licensing authorities. But very happy to place my greetings to Dr. P.C. Sharmaji. आपके सेंटर में 338 यानी पेरिफेरल फार्माकोविजिलेंस सेंटर भोपाल से 338 मिसलीडिंग एडवर्टाइजमेंट जो आपके पास प्रेजेंट किए गए थे, जिसमें yours is the first state who amicably resolved and brought to the notice of the authorities जिसमें से 18 misleading advertisement का एक्शन लिया गया। For that I am very happy and extend my greetings to you and extend my greetings to the coordinator as well as our program assistant Mohammad Arman Khan, who is doing very wonderful job. My dear Dr. N. Zahir Ahmad, my beloved student, the Deputy Director, Unani Vigilance of Human Medicine, for the wonderful deliberation. I am very happy to share with you as one of the speakers where I have heard so many crucial points related to the pharmacovigilance and Dr. Khalid, Assistant Director, Drug Control, Unani Government of New Delhi, Capital, New Research College and National Capital Delhi. Of course, I'm learning so many from you, but today I have focused so many things. For the paucity of time, I'm not permitting you to go for in detail. Thank you for joining with this webinar, sir. And I welcome all the faculty who are working with the Bhopal Medical College, Government Medical College, and the delegates from different parts of the country, as I'm assuming that because this webinar is also being placed live on Facebook. With this, good afternoon, assalamu alaikum, etc., etc. As a coordinator for National Intermediate Pharmacovigilance Center in Bengaluru, I thought let me go a little bit different, but it is a part of the pharmacovigilance program only. Till the last presentation, I focused on the objectives of the program and was more discussing about the awareness aspect of the program. But today, I have a different explanation to the audience here. The topic what I have selected is the anti-diabetic herbs, that is the plants, medicinal plants that are generally used in Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani, and the pharmacovigilance. What exactly the pharmacovigilance is, no need to be explained here. Most of you will be knowing about this. This is the drug-related activity, that is assessment, detection, and understanding anything which is related to the drug. Our systems of medicines are dealing with the drugs in different elements, diseases, Particularly, the diabetes is one of the global challenge, and unfortunately, India is supposed to be considered as the global capital of diabetes, where we have a huge number of the people of the population suffering with the type 2 diabetes. That is the focus of our topic discussion here. And here, see, I hope all of you know the diabetes is something like mellitus refers to a group of metabolic diseases which are generally characterized by increased blood glucose level. Ultimately, if it is there, it results to the reason is either there is a defective production of the insulin or there is a deficient secretion of the insulin, or in fact, sometimes both the things related to insulin is responsible to cause the diabetes. In this hyperglycemia, diabetes persists for several days and years, months together. It may cause considered as an uncontrolled diabetes that can lead to a group of a plethora of complications that can affect your vascular system, leading to sometimes it could be a peripheral vascular disease, the retinopathy, nephropathy, neuropathy, morbid and ultimately it can lead to mortality also, because the nature of the disease itself, of course, all the things cannot happen instantaneously, but with the passing of the time, the things will be happen. This is one of the major issues of the health today, and one of the major cause for the morbidity and the mortality globally. So the question is, why we are talking about the particularly diabetes? There is an organization by name as International Diabetes Federation 2020, last June 2021 only, they have issued the global data about the diabetes mellitus and some of the guidelines. According to this International Diabetes Federation class, which is the 10th edition, which report that a continued global increase in the diabetes prevalence, confirming diabetes as a significant global challenge to the health and the well-being of the individual, family, and the society. So, dear friends, this is one of the biggest challenge globally, because it not only affects the person who is suffering, but at the same time, the family as well as the society is also being affected. The global data it shows something like there are around 537 million adults who are between 20 to 70 years, because most of the participants who are learning today, we are listening this program, webinar attending, they fall into the age group of 20 to 79 years and are living with diabetes, and unfortunately 1 in 10, this number predicts to rise to 643 million by 2030. And now we are living in the era of 2021, that's almost 21 is over 22. The next 8 years, the number of affected people from 537 million to 643, nearly some 90 million people may likely to be increased globally. And now the same thing goes right by the year 2045, the next 25 years, and the total population may likely to have 750 million globally may likely to be affected with diabetes. तो एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, उसको कैसे कंट्रोल किया जाए। अगर नहीं हो रहा है तो क्या कॉम्प्लिकेशंस हो जाएंगे, मजीद समझने की कोशिश कीजिएगा। ओवर 3 in 4 adults with diabetes live in the low middle income countries. Of course, we are the people in India is coming out of these developing countries. Of course, they are also, see, most of the people live in the below poverty line. So we can also say, consider that India is also having out of 4, 3, may not be 3, 1 is supposed to be suffering with diabetes in a country like India, and usually the middle and low income countries are more affected. You know, this is the responsible. These diabetes is responsible for 6.7 million deaths in 2021. In the present year itself, the data shows that around 6 crore 70 lakhs people who are dying. It means 1 in every 5 seconds, the people are dying just because of the complication of the poor diabetes control. If you look at the developed country like America, they are spending around $1,000 billion in the health expenditure, where 360% increase in the last year, and we are unable to have the Indian data to share that how much economical burden the government of India is facing. Similarly, the other countries also. Around 551 million adults have impaired glucose tolerance. This is the precursor, predictive marks, and otherwise they can say the pre-diabetics, and we places them at the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So, people who are not confirmed diabetes, but I believe that the majority of Indian population is falling under the 541 millions whose glucose levels are impaired, and then they may likely to develop type 2 diabetes. So these are the challenges of the prevailing data which motivates us, which sensitizes us to think seriously about this problem. Coming to the part, how this diabetes is being controlled in the conventional medical practices, the conventional medicine, they have different chemical molecules and different regimes through which they suggest to control the diabetes. And some of the drugs which is prescribed by the conventional practitioner, that because the primary aim of the treatment or the management of diabetes, different mechanisms they have explained about that. And the probably the mechanism which is working in control of the management of diabetes are the drugs in the conventional drug when which are recommended to the diabetic people. Some of the drugs causes. Is it getting a problem? Hello? Yeah. Some of the conventional drugs they causes delay in gastric emptying, and some drugs may cause reduced absorption of the plasma carbohydrate, which is responsible for the increased glucose level. There is increased pancreatic insulin secretion because the diabetes is just because of there is a deficiency or the impaired function of the insulin. And sometimes the drugs will cause insulin replacement, directly could be insulin only. Some drugs are called as insulin limiting agents, which means they causes the repair and regeneration of the pancreatic cell so that the beta cells can produce enough required quantity of insulin in the body. And some drugs are there that reduce hepatic glucose output because the extra amount of the glucose will be stored in the muscles and some other parts of the hepatic area. And sometimes it increases the insulin sensitivity in contrast to the resistance. And some drugs which causes weight loss and exercise also been promoted. And some of the drugs are helping in alter the renal glucose threshold. So these are all the probable mechanism of modern drugs through which they are going to control diabetes. Even though sometimes the people are not happy or the diabetic levels are not under control. In such a case, generally the people started thinking of other conventional, other non-conventional or other indigenous kind of medical practices. My focus is on as because we are the people practicing with our herb. Our drugs are 90% made up of herbs, something like minerals and very few or less quantity of animal sources herb. 95% of the drug in Ayurveda, Siddha, and Unani are made up of this herbal medicine only. Today, people they are fed up of using this conventional medicine because of several factors. Look at that. There is a huge demand of consumption of herbal drugs which belongs to Ayush system of medicine for the management of diabetes. The reason is just because the question itself it is why there is a demand of herbal medicine for management of diabetes. And the reason what we have found from the literature and the observation is because many conventional medicines that is available as a primary treatment line where oral hypoglycemic drugs and insulin fail to give long-term glycemic control. They are using drugs, but the glucose levels are not under the control. This is called as uncontrolled diabetes with conventional medicine supposed to be. Sometimes most of the conventional medicines are they are costly beyond the economical capability of the patient. And another important factor is there's a side effects or adverse effects associated with the conventional medicine. And the other cause is there is anecdotal. Historically, we know that herbs, there are so many herbs used for diabetes and they are effective that motivates the user, the patient to switch over from conventional medicines to herbs because they have been developed in the nature and there is a history of use of such drugs effectively in controlling the diabetes. Apart and moreover, it is also believed that the today's conventional drugs are in one and another way they derived from herbal medicine only. Like historically, so many drugs are there. The metformin is 100% is an analog of one of the herb that has used as a bidartin using for the control of the hypoglycemia. And finally, the marketed products of herbal products and herbal drugs manufacturers, they are claiming that they are giving cure diabetes rather than managing the diabetes. Conventional medicine people, they won't claim that they are going to cure your diabetes. But the manufacturers of the herbal preparations, there are so many marketing agencies and the manufacturers are there. They are claiming that they are going to cure diabetes with herbal medicine. I thought these are all supposed to be the reason where the people are shifting or taking more focus toward using herbal medicine. That is the reason there is a huge demand of use of herbal medicine to control or to manage diabetes. Let us try to look at that. What are the herbs which are recommended or using for the diabetes? And most of the drugs, as you are well aware, there is a history. If you think about that, how long the people are using herbs. According to the documented history, the Everest occurs around 1550 BC, documented the use of plants in diabetes-like condition where polyuria, polyphagia, and polydipsia is there. And Ayurvedic texts like the Sushraka Samhita, Charaka Samhita, which were written somewhere in 60 BC, describe around 760 species of medicine plants that specifically prescribed for the glycophagia, polyuria associated with the diabetes and what we're talking. Similarly, if you look at this Unani system of medicine, the writings of Hippocrates, Galen, Vascondes, and Yunan texts of like Al-Qanun, Tibbit, Al-Hawi, Tibbil, Luqman, many more, they've well described diabetes and its management with the several medicinal herbs and the plants that is there. And ultimately, what happened the past few decades, the last several years, there is increasing evidence of the global increased use of complementary and alternative and traditional medicine based products for controlling the diabetes. So all these, because the complementary and alternative medicine and the traditional medicines, they are using only herbs as a drugs. So this data says that there are huge number of the drugs, herbal drugs are used by the people for controlling the diabetes. According to the WHO, the global data says around 90% of the global population, more particularly the developing countries, they use plants and their products as a complementary and alternative medicine for their primary health care. Here it includes fever, cough, body pain, etc. Beyond it, also the people started focusing to use herbal medicine for diabetes also. According to WHO, they enlisted the medicinal plant. There we have got 21,000 plants which are used around the world as a medicinal plant. If you look at that, in India alone, we have 2,500 species of medicinal plants used in India. Out of these 2,500, about 800 plants are reported to be anti-diabetic. I'm not going to share you, I'm unable to bring you the data of the globally how many plants are there which are dedicated to men for the diabetes. But the people who are living in the subcontinent India and we're very passionate to use this alternative medicine here. So in India alone, we have 800 plants, herbs, which are reported to be anti-diabetic potential. This is very wonderful talk. And there is another agency, the current NAPAR alert. This is an organization which stands for the Natural Product Alert. The database lists more than 1,300 species of plants which representing 750 genera, out of which several have been used ethnopharmacologically in traditional medicine as an anti-diabetic. If I take you around 1,300, 750 genera, 800 plants, almost we have a range of 1,000 species of medicinal plants exclusively. Indian population is being used for managing the diabetes like symptom. And the recent data, one of the studies says that up to 73% of the population, that comes around 72.8% of the people with the diabetes use herbal medicine. Here, it could be in addition to conventional medicine, mean some people are taking conventional medicine plus herbal drug, or some people are just taking herbal drug in place of conventional medicine. See, this data predominantly says most of the people are taking conventional as well as herbal drug as an addition to conventional medicine. That the problem arises here. If you come to the exclusively picture in India, indigenous methods of treatment where people used to not only take drugs, certain regimens are also there, using the treatment for the diabetes in Charakan Susrakalakal, we have told. And today, now the Ayush medicine, which compares Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and Siddha, there is the herbs are used for diabetes, assuming that they are effective and safe. The safe in the sense they are absence of side effects. We believing that or drugs are safe, they don't contain any side effect, as because they are derived from the nature, they are natural, so natural products may not have any adverse effect. And ultimately, the toxicity of these herbs remains in the area of major concern. That is the point of discussion for the pharmacovigilance program. Let me take you the anti-diabetic plants which are using in India. They are very common. Mostly we are using either they are in the form of like day-to-day recipes, vegetables, fruits, and some preventive health drugs are there. I hope my audience will be knowing about that. Methi, Karela, Neem, Jamun, Gurmarbuti, onion, garlic, sip, that's elva, tulsi, beetroot, I would go, this is called as a coccinia, anar, mango, bale, budo, babul, in Asian ginseng. These are the very common plants. Apart from that, as I told you, 800 medicinal plants are there, but these are the very popular plants which are using in India as a single drug to control diabetes or along with the conventional medicine. Otherwise, as a daily regimen for the as a diet for the recipes and something else. Like there is a fever nut, bitter apple, eucalyptus, banyan tree, guaral, sweet potato, urging nut, mulberry. These are all the vernacular of the Indian name, popular name. We have substantiated with the botanical names also. All these drugs are equally used in Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and other traditional medicines in India. If you look at this, the common drugs that are using in this is here Methi, Karela, Neem, Jamun, Gurma. They are the first line of treatment. Most of the manufacturers, marketing industry, they are supplying this combination of drugs, Methi, Karela, Jamun, or something Neem extract or Neem oil or Neem juice, Gurmar booty powder, and arna and garlic. These are the fundamental, like we are using in homes regularly as a salad or something else. Simple tulsi, beetroot, they have its importance. Anar, mango, they are food, but our consumption is there with a different intention, but they have potential anti-hyperglycemic or the diabetic activity. So these are all the plants. Let me to go through something more in detail. How these are the pictorially we are representing here. This is a methi, that is fenugreek seed, Karela, neem, jamun, and here we have the kalonji, black seeds, anar, onion. This is acacia, and here we have velpal. This is stevia. This is a guru, and here we have this karanjwa, and these are the coccinia, and here we have Gurmarbuti. Mostly here in this mango, leaves extract, but the mango is proved to be a very important effect in diabetes. But in our literature, Iranian literature is enriched with the endocarp of the seed is having anti-diabetic property. We have different formulations also. There are several use of the garlic the things are there. Aloe vera, so many important functions are there. The pulp from the leaf is proven to be anti-hyperglycemic activity. So these are all the herbs commonly we are using. Here I am acknowledging to my colleague Dr. Hamiduddin, who is an assistant professor, Department of Saidala, Pharmacy, who got a very wonderful publication in one of the journal. He brought different formulations used in India, particularly the Unani preparation like the Saputo diabetes, and they are the pharmacy manufacturers, and all the ingredients. And most of the ingredients contain darchini, gurmarbuti, jamun, akakya, gurmarbuti, and nazgan, and these all those things are there. Karela ras, tulsajabati. Look at this, and there are a combination of drugs produced by different pharmaceutical industries like here, and all these drugs are the compound formulations are made up of the drugs individual herbs as a in combination or individually being marketed. And this paper is published in the Journal International Journal of Green Pharmacy, October, December 2018. I extend my greetings to Dr. Hamiduddin, who brought a very wonderful paper. It is a very informative. People can access this. One can see the combination of the drugs, how frequently using for controlling the diabetes as Unani preparation. Right. Coming to this, how these Unani drugs or Ayurvedic drugs, Siddha herb, the mechanism of it, how they are acting like an anti-diabetic herb. Like the conventional drug, they have established mechanism, the probable mechanism, what I told, what I shared. Out of several studies conducted on the animals and the clinical trial, it is believing that these herbs are working like they inhibit the renal glucose absorption, or herbs they stimulate the insulin secretion. Some of the herbs, they inhibit the insulin degradation process. Some of these anti-diabetic herbs of the RC system of medicines are reduction in insulin resistance, or they are causing like regenerating and repairing pancreatic beta cells. Some of the herbs, they causes stimulation of glucogenesis and glycolysis, and some drugs will protecting the effects and the destruction of the beta cell that is responsible for the production of insulin. And there are some drugs which work like a prophylaxis in ecological conversion of starch to glucose. And some of the drugs are inhibiting the beta galactosides and alpha glucosides and alpha amylases, which are responsible for the pathological manifestation of diabetes. And most of the drugs contain a multiple function, that is an antioxidant activity, which is also important in controlling the diabetes. There are something like based upon preclinical data and some clinical studies, people came about the understanding that this is the mechanism by which these herbs are controlling this diabetes level. Coming to the primary part of the discussion, the pharmacovigilance of anti-diabetic, that is called as Ayurveda Siddha Unani herb. Why we will do that, what we are going to learn through this, and how we are going to understand. Here, I would like to say what exactly the pharmacovigilance, because this pharmacovigilance is something like it is the study of the safety of the drug under the practical condition of clinical usage in a large population. Because you know there are so many herbs, methi, and gurmarguti, and the piyaz, lasan, tulsi, all we are using in another way. So suppose if a diabetic patient who is also using the same thing, either exclusively single drug or along with the conventional drug, what will be the pharmacovigilance prospect that we like to understand here? Basically, the objective of the pharmacovigilance program is to extend safety monitoring and detecting drug adverse events which are not being previously determined, been unrecognized. There are people using drugs, but some ADRs have been reported, but people not paid attention. Now we are going to look into that such a thing to be documented, how it is going to happen. The question is need of pharmacovigilance, why it is required. Here, as a responsible person and citizen of India, where most of the people rely on the indigenous kind of drugs, we have anti-diabetic herbs, and arises due to this. Here, the people are using huge number of anti-diabetic drugs as a combination or single medicine without looking into the safety. So, whether these combination or single use of anti-diabetic herbs are safe for them. If it is safe, not an issue. If it is something is wrong, then how to control this, how to safeguard the public is subject to the herbal. That is the objective of the pharmacovigilance program. And now, this herbal medicine, every herb is contain multiple bioactive components. If you take any there are so many chemical bioactive substances there, and we are lacking the understanding of this. How this out of several components, which component works what, how it is going to work. All the components are good to us, or some of them are good, some of them are not good. This still is not clear. One. Second thing is, if how components of herbal medicine work independently. If I take gurmarguti, who is supposed to be suffering from diabetes, is it if I take alone a single drug, it works? How it works? Because we don't know. The data is not available. Sometimes, if we allow, in fact, we are asking the patient to use herbal drug like gurmarguti or methi solution along with the conventional medicine as a combination, then what will be the effect of this combination or additional usage of this drug? Still, we are lacking the understanding of all these things. Whereas the conventional medicine are well defined and characterized, that every molecule is understood very well, and they have given indications and the conduct indications of the drug. But we are lacking that one. That is the reason the concern of safety arises much when using concurrent use of anti-diabetic herb along with conventional medicine. If a person is taking exclusively simple herb, it may not be that much a safe matter of concern. Only the big issues is arising when the people are taking together conventional as well as the herbal drug. That is the objective of the pharmacovigilance program, to safeguard the people. Let us try to understand more. Several studies suggested that when people are starting using two more drugs, it could be chemicals or chemical and herb, then we are likely to have some herb drug interaction. If a person is taking herb as well as a chemical molecule, likely to have the herbal drug interaction. This drug stands for the pharmaceutical one, which may affect the clinical safety and efficacy also. May. It's not sure. It may affect safety. The reason is because the pharmacological factors are there. There are certain pharmacological actions are there of the drugs that is called as the pharmacokinetics and the dynamics, how the body will react to the drug, how the drug is going to act on the body. All these two phenomena will work differently. If you look at this pharmacokinetics, where the drug is going to do the body, it works quantitative alteration in the body. Like if the drug take renal clearance, the bioavailability. Dr. Zai was talking about that they have conducted one clinical trial where they given that among the tuberculosis and drug was given, and they found that the bioavailability of the rifamycin was increased. Here, this kinetics is going to talk about the bioavailability. A combination of drug, if you take herb and the conventional, sometimes what happens is the herbal drug will causes the synergetic effect, which causes the increasing in the bioavailability and increasing the effectiveness of the conventional drug. And how long the drug is going to be there in the body. Drug distribution, whether the drug is appropriately distributed all over the body, how it is absorbing, how it is eliminating. Apart from this, the role of cytochrome P450 is one of the hepatic enzyme which is responsible for controlling the activity of the drugs in ameliorating the symptoms of diabetes mellitus, the pharmacokinetics. And the second thing is the pharmacodynamics, how the drug is going to be in the body, where the qualitative manner through effects on various organs of the body, it works. Basically, in the dynamics, which interact, such interaction alter the effect of the drugs. Where sometimes what happens now, if a person is taking two different drugs, one drug will cause decreasing in the effectiveness. We call it as antagonistic effect. Sometimes it causes increasing the effectiveness. We call it as additive or synergetic effect. Sometimes the drugs may cause increasing, decreasing in the severity of the adverse effect also. There are so many drugs in this field, out of which Dr. Zahid was told initially there are so many drugs that cannot be given because they have what is called a similar name and the wrong identification, and they are, according to Unani philosophy, the Chaharun drugs are there. So these two mechanisms, pharmacokinetic dynamics, where the pharmacological factors of the drugs is going to do a lot of things in the body. And coming to the part, there are certain antibiotic, anti-diabetic activity of the certain herbs which we have reported. I have told you that methi, the trigonal fenugreek is very common day-to-day use one. It contains different chemical constituents like the saponin, proteins, and polyphenols. And this clinical trial says that it contains an additive effect. Additive means adding effect. Two different chemical oral hypoglycemic metformin and glucosamine has been used along with methi, and both the drugs were shown additive effect. Mean the action of the metformin is increased and the action of the glucosamine has also been increased to control the sugar levels. So this is a good. But the thing is, if a person who is taking metformin and or glucosamine along with methi, the chances of likely to have the presence of hypoglycemia will be more. This is the pharmacogenesis point of view. And Karela, this is a very common vegetable. It contains steroids, glucoside mixtures, and many more chemical constituents also proved to be having additive effect with metformin and glucosamine and glucosamine. Three different chemical the drugs used in the market for the diabetes shown to be additive effect with both they are using Karela along with the very popular Durmarbuti Jimna Synthesis is also having. This is the only drug what I found antagonistic effect. They adjusted the metformin. If a person is taking metformin to control diabetes, if they recommended to use Jimna Durmarbuti, this causes antagonism, means it reduces the plasma-like concentration effect of the metformin. So it is not recommended to use Durmarbuti among the metformin-dependent people because the effect of the metformin will drastically change. But again, the similar study has been conducted where individual Durmarbuti is given to people. The single drug Durmarbuti is equally effective as metformin in one of the clinical trial. Right. Garlic, the lahasan is another allolicity that contains bioactive compounds called L-thioceramide. This is a sulfonyl group of chemical substances found to be additive effect, means synergistic action. There is some add-on effect with the metformin. Further causes a long use or huge use, low dose of the garlic may causes hypoglycemia. Aloe vera, this is Elva. active ingredient contains galactose-rich polysaccharides and galactoruric acid. It is also found to be an addictive effect with butylamide, dibutazone, and repaglinide. Several other groupings of drugs are there. Several studies reported potential interaction between aloe vera and anti-diabetic drugs are there. This interaction is herbal drug and drug interaction, and most of the drugs are shown addictive effect only. The chances of hypoglycemia may likely to be have occur. Ginger aficionam is the zenjabil, which contains oleoresin, gibberol, and phenolic compounds, and anti-diabetic effect is also derived from its antioxidant and anti-glycated properties. The additive effect of verbetlamide has also been reported in ginger among the animals as well as the clinical trial. Babul is an acacia arabica gum, and here different parts of the plant is used. The plant extract, seed powder, induce hypoglycemia, and it shows that activity of these plants are just by inhibiting the release of insulin from the pancreas itself. Means this babul is, of course, we are lacking this clinical trial here, but animal experimental study shows that they have a very potent hypoglycemic property. Jamun is a very common drug used in combination nowadays. It contains anthocyanin, glucoside, and many more chemical substances are there. It is also found to be an additive effect, which increases the secretion of insulin from the beta cells and causes inhibition of insulin regulation. The action of the jamun is very good, but if you do in combination with the drugs, it further causes additive effect, means add-on effect. Like as many herbs have not been thoroughly tested. Even whatever the drugs we have come across, because I can say most of the things are very regularly used, whether vegetables, fruits, or in day-to-day recipe, like so many things are using this one. People who are using, we are not clear about them. They have not been thoroughly tested for the pharmacology and toxicology the point of these herbs. Because if you don't know the toxicology, the unexpected toxicity of the herbs due to the quality issues like poor quality of the material, sometimes we are using the poor quality of the Gurmar Bhuti, Kerala directly without any what's called as this conventional medicine, and just you are relying that if I use this herbal drug, my sugar level will come down. And if the quality is not good, you yourself is likely to cause what is called as uncontrolled diabetes. In sometimes what is happening, incorrect and wrong species are used. There are n number of examples given by Dr. Kahir. Some drugs are misidentified herbs. Like there are so many drugs told about it, and the adulteration is the biggest problem nowadays. Like stupid juice, they are giving some chemicals which is not stupid juice. And contamination is another big part, because different geographical area, the drugs have different kind of contaminations. It could be some organophosphates and the pesticides and something, the heavy metals are also there. Incorrect or inappropriate processing of the products also. If you are using any powder or any compound preparation, if you are not going to follow the proper procedure of the drugs, it may likely to cause unexpected toxicity or the pharmacovigilance related activity. And all these matters needs for the pharmacovigilance, the people who are taking care of drug-related issues, as a paramount importance in detecting unwanted reactions like what we are going to do here. Usually the side effects. Generally, pharmacovigilance will give you the side effects. Side effects is related to the pharmacology of the drug. Because every drug, they have certain hidden what is called the side effects, which is described in the textbook, how to use, how to control the side effect of the drug, and what proper HR should be given. We know that the side effects, and it is clearly there in the pharmacology. In adverse disease, we speak about the adverse drug reaction, which is not intended, but in normal dosage of the drug, due to the patient, something which is to happen is this unintended noxious. And these adverse drug reactions are generally happen due to overdose. Recently happened a story, there is a reporting from the Department of Pharmacovigilance Program coordinator. They are going to share about that a small quantity of Krishna is generally recommended, which is supposed to be in a Masha, Rati. If the dosage is increases, it may cause ADR, the adverse drug reaction. So overdose is to be controlled. Then you have to follow up exactly the dose to be controlled. Can I take, suppose some hundreds of more than hundreds of what is the grams of extract of Kerala to control my sugar level, or can I suggest to the patient? We don't know. If you do an overdose, how it is going to react to the body. overduration. Sometimes the drugs are going on used in the people for a long period without taking the consultation of the subject experts. And tolerance also. Some people are very sensitive to the small group, small amount of the drug. Some people are very tolerable to the higher quantity of the drug. This also. Dependency and addiction is also the problem. All these three factors are going to be the drug reaction or not. Hypersensitivity. People generally complain of allergic and idiosyncratic reaction. And the long use of the drug sometimes may cause mid-term and the long-term toxic effect. We call it as a delayed, what is called as ADR category. And these kind of mid-term and long-term toxic effect can lead to, sometimes this is a liver damage, hepatic failure, renal failure, cardiac and neurotoxicity. Sometimes it could be a drug density also. These are all the things which is matter for the pharmacovigilance. The objective is to keep a vigilance throughout the use of the drug. It includes the duration, dosage, and the quality, everything for us. Finally, coming to the conclusion, and here the concept of natural drug and safe. Generally, people used to believe that herbs are from the nature, and the nature thing derived from the nature are safe is being rejected because several drugs have been reported with an inherent, indirectly they have the toxicity. That may be derived from individual. Similarly, the growing use and the growing risks associated with the use of antidiabetic drugs is also a matter of concern that cannot be ignored because they are not tested. Most of the herbs are not tested pharmacological and toxicological effects. And the use of herbs, either it is a single or in combination for diabetes, is the concern of safety because how the concern of safety because if you use a single drug, hypoglycemia will happen if used in combination with the conventional medicine. This, as I told you, this hypoglycemia due to use of conventional medicine and herbal drug because of the additive add-on effect or the synergetic effect. Hypoglycemia is a condition where there is a decrease in the glycemic index. This is very challengingly very bad condition in comparison to hyperglycemia. Sometimes hyperglycemia due to positive effect of the drug. Some herbs are too good. If they use, of course, they themselves will produce hypoglycemia. But one cannot be related. Then the question of drug dose is a matter. How much quantity should be given, how often should be given, what is the range is to be given. Sometimes these drugs, if they are used singly, sometimes it causes hyperglycemia. There is increased glycemia due to because of the non-effectiveness of the drug, as I told you, because most of the herbal drugs, their pharmacological activity is not there. People are just believing that if I take Gulmar BP or Jamun and the parallax tract, it will regulate my blood sugar levels. If they are not going to do what you are thinking, ultimately it causes hyperglycemia. A long use of detect or what is called as the detachment of the use of the drugs can cause hyperglycemia. Is also one of the biggest challenges if the people are using the single drugs. Hypoglycemia, as I told you, lower blood glucose level can lead to severe adverse effects. And this in comparison to hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia may not cause adverse reaction. Hypoglycemia is supposed to be something it can be lethal also, mortal also. And when you are treating as a physician, as an individual, when you are treating the combination of the drug, if you experience hypoglycemia, suggest them the patient, the treatment should be alert to this possibility. If you found anything, try to report it and try to avoid the thing which causes more hypoglycemic reaction. Finally, I suggest that therefore the use of herbal medicine, either single or along with the combination of this conventional medicine or single in combination, should be made with the advice of concerned experts. A Unani Ayurvedic homeopathic cannot recommend the patient to use this conventional medicine along with the herbal. This is a two different entities. Herbal practitioner can say that these are the drugs you can use in combination with the conventional medicine. Similarly, the conventional medicine doctor should recommend to use herbal medicine with the consultation of the concerned expert. That is, the advice is concerned expert in general. All the people who are bound to use as a combination of therapy or use of single drug for them, particularly to this vulnerable people who have complication of the diabetes. They are thinking that the long history of diabetes are not controlled due to use of this conventional medicine. They are better to say to get in touch with the herbal doctor for preventing the complication. Finally, thank you for attending me. And if you have any query, that's time for your attention. And if you have any question, that I'm ready to attend your queries, please. So, to Professor Sir.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू सर। अब मैं सबसे आखिर में डॉक्टर मोहम्मद आरिफ साहब, जो हकीम सैयद ज़ियाउल हसन गवर्नमेंट यूनानी मेडिकल कॉलेज में डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ अमराज़ ऐन अनफ़ो हल्क़ में लेक्चरर हैं, उनसे मैं गुजारिश करूंगा कि पेरिफेरल फार्मेको विजिलेंस सेंटर हकीम सैयद ज़ियाउल हसन के जो को कोऑर्डिनेटर साहब हैं प्रोफेसर खुर्शीद आलम साहब, उनके बिहाफ पर तमाम मेहमानों का, तमाम मुकर्ररीन का और तमाम हाज़रीन और शुरका का शुक्रिया अदा करें।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जनाब डॉक्टर एहसान साहब। आज के इस फार्माको विजिलेंस अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम के इस नेशनल प्रोग्राम में कॉलेज की जानिब से और पेरिफेरल फार्माको विजिलेंस सेंटर की पूरी टीम की जानिब से वेबिनार के गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर जनाब पीसी शर्मा साहब, डिप्टी डायरेक्टर महकमा आयुष हुकूमत मध्य प्रदेश का शुक्रगुजार हूँ, जिन्होंने इस प्रोग्राम में शिरकत की और हमारा हौसला बढ़ाया। मैं आज के वेबिनार के काबिल एहतराम स्पीकर जनाब प्रोफेसर अलीमुद्दीन कुमरी साहब बेंगलोर, डॉक्टर जनाब ज़हीर अहमद साहब चेन्नई, डॉक्टर जनाब मोहम्मद खालिद साहब दिल्ली का शुक्रिया अदा करना अपना फ़र्ज़ मनसबी और अखलाक़ी ज़िम्मेदारी समझता हूँ और बेहद ममनून हूँ कि उन हज़रात ने इस वेबिनार के लिए न सिर्फ अपना कीमती वक्त निकाला बल्कि फार्माको विजिलेंस से मुतालिक मुख्तलिफ मौज़ूआत और टॉपिक्स पर अपनी गिरा कदर ख़यालात और अपने इल्म तजर्बे की रोशनी में कीमती मालूमात भी पेश की। मध्य प्रदेश के तौर से इस प्रोग्राम में शिरकत करने वाले यूनानी प्रोफेशनल्स, यूनानी कॉलेज के असातिज़ा, तलबा का भी शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि उन्होंने इस वेबिनार में शिरकत की। इस तरह के प्रोग्राम का इनेकाद वक्त की ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि यूनानी अदविया के ताल्लुक़ से फार्माको विजिलेंस से जुड़े मसाइल से आगाही और बेदारी बहुत ज़रूरी है। मैं आखिर में एक बार फिर मेहमानों का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं और प्रोग्राम की सदारत फरमा रही पेरिफेरल फार्माको विजिलेंस सेंटर भोपाल की कोऑर्डिनेटर प्रोफेसर महमूदा बेगम साहिबा का भी शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं, जिनकी ज़ाती और खुसूसी दिलचस्पी से ये प्रोग्राम अपने मकसद के लिहाज से एक कामयाब प्रोग्राम की शक्ल में इख्तिताम पजीर हो रहा है। आखिर में तमाम हजरात का जिन्होंने इस प्रोग्राम में जिस तरह से भी मदद की है, हम उन तमाम हजरात का शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं और इसी के साथ ही दिली शुक्रिया के साथ वेबिनार के इख्तिताम का ऐलान किया जाता है। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
जज़ाकल्लाह,
शुक्रिया, थैंक यू सर। जी कुमरी साहब, और ख़ास तौर से इस प्रोग्राम में हमारे जो चेन्नई से मेहमान जुड़े थे ज़हीर साहब, उनके लिए ख़ास तौर से इस वजह से कि आज उनका CCRM का एक स्पेशल प्रोग्राम था जो पिछले 3-4 दिन से चल रहा है, तो उन्होंने उसको मुलतवी करके इसमें हमारा कीमती वक्त दिया। हम उनका बहुत ही तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हैं। बहुत शुक्रिया सर। ठीक, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।